Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. I am Matt. Hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to take a look at a refillable pod system by SMOK. Their last one, the Infinix, was a pretty big hit, so I've been eager to try this one out. I didn't get a lot of time with the Infinix. It was never sent to me, but I did vape on a few friends' units. Wait, that sounds weird. I did vape on a few friends that had one, and I was impressed. All right, so here is your packaging. Inside, you are going to have a user manual, a super duper short micro USB charging cable, 2 pods, and these both have the same resistance coil. It's around 1.2 ohms, and they hold 2 mLs of liquid, but it's definitely a plus that they sent 2, which we're not seeing, because we're not seeing that with a lot of the pod makers recently. And then you have a 400 milliamp hour battery. It has that same design as like the XPriv doors, that honeycomb design, which I quite like. I'm not crazy about the look of a lot of SMOK's products, but I actually like the look of this one. You do have some chrome accents around the side though, which are a fingerprint magnet. And I'll show you real quick the one that I've been using. I like this baby blue color. So 400 milliamp hour battery, it says SMOK right there. You do have a charge port right there, micro USB. There is a little light right there. We'll talk about that more in a bit. And here is what your pods look like. Pretty standard. You have a coil right down here, cotton wicks on the sides. On the bottom there, 2 contacts, and then that airflow port. If you notice, a lot of pod systems have like a little gasket or seal in the airflow port that, you know, opens up when air is getting sucked in and then it closes up. Membrane, whatever you'd like to call it, okay? This does not have it, and I did notice that I do get a little more condensation on this device because of that. So I would definitely suggest to SMOK to add that in with their production units. Anyway, it says SMOK right there. There's your mouthpiece, and I do have a separation in the center there. Now, there is a fill port over here. You got to dig your nail in to get this off, like so. I have Nic salts in my other one, but with this one, I am going to use a 12 milligram freebase. And it's not the cleanest fill system. The hole could be a little bit bigger, so I would suggest going slow until you get the hang of it. Once you're done, close that up. Whoops. Obviously, you do want to let your pod sit for a little while, let those wicks get soaked in. Like I've said in previous videos, you can prime it if you'd like. You hold your finger over that, suck, and then release. That draws liquid into the coil head. Now, to install this, it's just basically a press fit, a friction fit inside there. There is no magnets. So you just push in like that, and it fits in nice and tight, okay? It doesn't feel like it's going to come out or anything like that. Now, while it looks super clean, right, you can't see your liquid level. It would have been nice if there were some windows on one or both sides of this. You have to pull up in order to see your liquid level. Now, as far as dimensions, it's about 88 millimeters tall, 24 millimeters that way, and then I think it was about 14 thick, okay? So it's a tiny little device. A little bit different form factor than some of the other pods we've seen recently. Here is the Zero, which I've been using quite a bit still. That is shorter, but it is wider that way. And they are close to the same thickness. And as far as that light goes, basically it lights up blue when you're vaping. I'll show you that when we go up top. And then it starts blinking like 15 times over and over again when it's time to charge your battery. So not a super intuitive light. Would have been nicer if it changed different colors and you had a little more exact of a read on your battery life. As far as materials, it feels like a mixture of plastic and some metal in here, but doesn't feel cheap at all. And like I said, that pattern is definitely a lot like the XPriv here. So in my opinion, one of the better looking SMOK devices, this and the XPriv. And this is going to come in quite a few different colors. I got pink and blue. Okay, let's go up top and I will give you my thoughts. All right, here is the SMOK Novo. I'm having a hard time with this because I just reviewed the Nova. Now we're reviewing the Novo. So it's a SMOK Novo pod system. Freshly charged battery in this. I have a 12 milligram freebase nicotine, the tea time here in this. Let's go ahead and vape it. And just as a side note, like I've said in past videos, I've been using freebase a little bit more lately because some of the Nic salts do make me cough. But I have 25 milligram Nic salt in this, so twice as much nicotine. So I want to compare the throat hit between the two. Still get a bit more of a throat hit with the 12 milligram freebase than I do the 25 milligram nic salt. So if you're someone that wants that throat hit, but you want to lower your nicotine down more, I would try out some freebase. But again, you're going to want to try to keep track of your puffs too, because sometimes when you lower your nicotine, you just have a tendency to vape twice as much, right? There's no puff counter on this though, so you're going to have to keep a tally if you're really trying to be strict with yourself. Okay, so first off, let's talk about the draw. It's a looser MTL vape than some of the others. So for example, here's the Zero, which is kind of a medium tight, I would say, when it comes to the draw. Here's the Nova, or Novo. I mean, it's a looser MTL vape. You could direct lung hit this, but it's going to be pretty tight. So for me personally, I would have liked to have seen the draw tighten up a little bit more. You do get a lot more vapor production out of it though with that looser draw than if I'm comparing it to some of the other pod systems out there. It would have been nice if there was a liquid window in here so you could see your level, so you don't have to pull the pod up to check it out to see how much liquid you have left. So that's a bummer. Also would have been nice if the light does a little bit more than just blue and then starts flashing at you and whatever. Would have been nice if it was more incremental, so you had a little better idea of where your battery level is at. And one other thing to mention is that there's a split right here in the mouthpiece. And while it's not horrible, you can definitely tell it's there. It feels a little bit like vapors coming out both sides with a split in the middle, which is what's right there, right? So personally, I would have rather that not been there. So now let's go pros. First off, really like the look of this one. I think that these are just cool looking. The build quality on them are really nice. I like the pattern on them. There's not a lot of SMOK products out there where I like the looks of them, but I really like the look of the Novo kit here. Also, while I complained about the split in the mouthpiece, it is a very comfortable mouthpiece. It's a good size and I really like it. It's one of the better mouthpiece shapes out there, I think. Vapor production on this could be another pro for you if that's something you care about. You definitely get a good amount of vapor out of this thing, and I attribute that to the wider open draw. Okay, so you're going to get more vapor from this than something like the Zero or the Joules and things of that nature. It's also a big pro that you get 2 pods. This thing's $30, so it's about the same price as a lot of the other pod systems out there, but most of them that we've seen recently only come with 1 pod. These come with 2, so that's a very big pro. They do have cotton coils in them. It's hard to say how long it's going to last you. I mean, as far as time goes, I don't only vape pod systems all day long, so I'm not sure about that. But as far as refills on this, 5 or 6 tanks is what I'm finding. I think you could use it even longer than that, but also just depends on the liquid you're using, how fast it's going to gunk up the coils. Are you letting it drain all the way down and possibly getting a dry hit in between? Things of that nature. But for most people, I think you could get probably 5 to 6 tanks worth out of one of these. Now, one other con too that I forgot is the airflow hole down there does not have a little membrane or a seal or anything like that in there. And so I have found, and it's never so bad that it's like I don't want to use it or I need to clean it out, but you do get more condensation buildup down there than with some of the other pod systems. So going forward in some of their future pods that they manufacture, I think that they should add that membrane into the pod. You can vape while charging with this. With the normal day-to-day user that's only using one of these pods, I think you're going to get majority of the day out of it, if not all day. But again, you can vape while charging it as well. And as far as flavor goes and the warmth goes, I would say it's about middle of the road. Okay, it's not the coolest one out there. For example, the Vaporesso Nexus, that's a little bit cooler vape than this, but it's also not as warm as like the Zero here, or what was the Cookie as a warmer vape as well. And I think that that's just because you have a looser draw in this. So I think flavor's good, and it's in that acceptable range, but if it was a little bit warmer, I think it would be even better. So really, who's this for? The people that like a looser MTL pod vape. If that's your thing, then you're probably going to dig this. If you found that a lot of the other pod systems don't give you enough vapor production, then you're probably going to dig this. If you like the looks of it, you're probably going to dig it. But it does have a few cons, like I mentioned, so it is up to you. Like I said, you're going to be able to pick this up for $30. There are already some US retailers that have this in stock. I saw it in stock on Vapor DNA's site. That about wraps it up. Until next time, thanks for watching. Suck my